Hey Cupcakes, Lisa here. And hashtag 78 days has gotten a little catawampus of late. Oh, I'm just noticing yeah, the suet and bird feeder behind me. So yes, I've got a little piggy over my head. That's cute. Um, anyway, I'm filming outside this morning because it's too dark inside and hubby is still in bed. So I'm trying to not disturb him too much. And I'm going to run right through this video because I got to get it done, got to get to work. Got 2 more videos I have to do today if I want to stay on track. Time and Tarot wait for no woman. And today, really, I want to finish with the Courts of the Cups. So I want to talk about the Knight of Cups. Now, this is a really, to me, a very interesting card. And a lot of different views on this card. One way to think about this card is to take the approach that Rachel Pollack takes in 78 Days of Wisdom, where she points out, the ways in which she sees the sort of the fish and the contents of the cup and the cups in general as having to do with things like intuition and imagination. She says, oh, look at the page. He's starting to figure it all out. He's got a fish in his cup. But there's something for her about the presentational quality of the Knight and this, what she sees is this little trickle of water here as opposed to the ocean behind the page or even the way the page's hat looks like water, and this, also roaring estuary by the Queen, or the way in which the king himself is right smack dab on the ocean. This Knight, she says, look, he's got the wings of Mercury in his hat, but his horse just seems to be kind of resisting movement forward. And in fact, and I think this is really interesting, she points out the similarity of postures between the Knight of Cups, and especially his horse, and Death, and talks about this card as being potentially a card of transformation, but it can be a place where we get stuck in the imagination and we don't move forward. We're not really moving ahead. We're kind of too maybe in love with our own creative process, our own imaginative process, our own emotional depth. She says, if this Knight can kind of pull things together, he can enter into an internal quest that might be really deep, but he can also just sort of be in these shallow waters and not get very far. And she talks about him in relationship to the other Knights. It's common to talk about how sort of still and staid the Knight of Pentacles is, how earthy he is, and to look at the Knight of Swords dashing in a universe of great wind and movement. Sorry for the traffic noise. Or even the ways in which we see that same kind of vim and vigor, that fire in the Knight of Wands. But, the Knight of Cups, for me, fire of water. These 2 elements aren't going to work that well together, right? And indeed, for her, she's like the fieriness or the movement forward of the Knights isn't going to meld well with the passivity of the element of water. But much as I am putty in the hands of Rachel Pollack, she's so brilliant, that doesn't quite satisfy me. And the deck, which is actually now my new deep love of a deck that I want to focus on today, is the Tarot of Balbi. This is an out-of-print vintage deck. I think it was printed up through the 80s. Balbi is an Italian illustrator. The deck was produced by Fournier in Spain, 1975, and it uses the Eudes Picard system. I'll do a link later to Kelly Fitzgerald's wonderful introduction to Eudes Picard, which is a system I'll also talk about with the King of Cups later on, because it's the same system that informs Trevisan's Crystal Tarot. And it's a system where the swords are linked to water and the cups are linked to air, strangely enough. It's a system of minors, and it's really beautiful. Anyway, the Tarot of Balbi, this 1975 deck, it's it's just, I love it. I love it. I love the colors. I love the cheeriness of it. I love the way that the cards are all divided into this sort of lower round area and then an upper area, so sort of lower and higher. I guess they're not all, almost all of them. The Three of Cups, I think, is really the rare card that doesn't have that division. Things are kind of color-coded, but not quite. You can see these butterflies in the cups. So the butterfly, Eudes Picard talks about how the butterfly represents the soul, but that kind of airy element, right? And you can see in the ace, the elements, the astrological air suits, air symbols, air, what do I want to say, in the zodiac. You know what I mean. My brain is not working. So all of these ways in which the cups are linked to this flight and this release and this liberation, this rising energy, which is a really beautiful way to think about the emotions and to think about the cups as a suit of transformation, which even if you think about the cups in relationship to water, there's a way in which water can fill any shape, any vessel, has this fluidity. I mean, Rachel Pollack talks about it as passive, but that passivity is what allows it to be so malleable and fluid and so full of change. So here we have the page. And notice how he's got like the lid of the cup off in his hand, and that lid becomes the Knight of Cups shield. And there's also this extra cup in the Knight of Cups. He's got the cup in his hand and the cup beneath his horse. And his hair, her hair, showing the actual movement. The Queen of Cups, the butterfly above her cup. And then, you know, the butterfly here now merges into the fluidity of water in the King. Just gorgeous. So what do I want to say quickly, because I got to go to work, about this night? Yeah, let's just soak him in for a second. So to me, the passivity with which Rachel sees, Rachel Pollack, we're on a first name basis. You're like this. The passivity with which Rachel Pollack sees in this card, or, you know, in this suit, in the element of water, and that she associates with the knight as not being able to kind of get on his quest. To me, that's the openness to transformation that is perhaps the hallmark of the Suit of Cups. So, you know, if you're working with the Eudes Picard system, going back to the beginning of the 20th century, that system of minors, you know, is all about, the cups are all about air, and the butterfly is a symbol of the soul, a symbol of transformation, a symbol of liberation into the air. To me, the fluidity of water gets expressed in the fieriness of the night through this openness to change and transformation. And I see that in the way in which the emblem of the cup retains the qualities of the heart, the two hearts on either side of what I take to be a butterfly. But also the way in which the knight's capacity to defend himself as he moves forward. You know, it may be that the Knight of Cups does have this way in which, as a knight, he's hindered by the suit of water, a suit of transformation. He's not a fighter. He's not plunging in to transform a situation. In fact, he's going to be changed by the situation itself. But his knightliness allows him to bring forth, sorry, that was a big truck, to bring forth his energies while also being defended. So where the page is still learning how to do things, is releasing his soul, playing with transformation, taking the lid off the cup, allowing the butterfly to be free. The knight now has the shield to defend himself as he moves forward into a world where he can be transformed in the very process of meeting that world, in the very process of forging forward, as every knight must do. All right, I think that's all I got for now. Love this deck. Want to work with it. Want to understand the card system a little bit better. And we'll have a chance to talk more about it. Check out the Magician. To talk more about it when I come back to the King. And also, after I've worked with this deck, which I've only had now for a couple weeks, I'll talk about the Tarot of Balby in a real review. Okay, bye guys.